Jack's mother suspected that Tu Tien's father was a fake the truth behind. The news that Tu Tien had found her biological father filled Jack's mother with immense joy. She sat silently in the living room, her heart overwhelmed with an indescribable emotion. Happiness, deep emotion, and a sense of relief as if an invisible burden she hadn't even realized she was carrying had suddenly been lifted. She had witnessed the longing in Tu Tien's eyes whenever she spoke of her family. She had listened to the girl's heartfelt confessions about the father she had never met again. That child had grown up with a void in her heart, missing the love and presence of her kin. More than anyone, Jack's mother understood the deep yearning of a lost child, searching for her roots. For a parent, what could be more heartbreaking than losing a child? And what could be more joyous than finally finding them? Again, thinking of this, she let out a quiet sigh, feeling the warmth of happiness spread within her. At last, Tien's search had reached a beautiful conclusion. But alongside that joy, a lingering doubt began to take root. Everything had happened so suddenly, too coincidentally. Tiffany had been searching for years without any leads, and now out of nowhere this man had appeared before her. He claimed to have been looking for his daughter everywhere, but how is it that he had only just found her now? As an experienced woman, she knew that life was rarely so simple. A man who had lost his daughter for so many years, if he had truly been searching with all his heart, would he not have left some trace of his efforts? And if he truly was Tu Tien's father, would he not carry vivid memories of her childhood? These thoughts made Jack's mother contemplative. The joy remained, but now it was accompanied by a quiet sense of caution. As a mother, she had always sought to protect those she loved from unseen dangers. Tu Tien was now a part of Jack's life, which meant she too had a responsibility to ensure the girl's happiness. She needed to see this man with her own eyes, to verify whether everything was as it seemed. And so without hesitation, she decided to go to Tu Tien's farm, where the long-awaited reunion was taking place. She did not rush, nor did she let her emotions show too openly. But deep inside she was prepared to observe, to ask questions, and most importantly, to uncover the truth. Upon arriving at the farm and hearing Tu Tien introduce the man as her biological father, Jack's mother couldn't help but be taken aback. For so many years, the girl had tirelessly searched for her father in vain, traveling far and wide, asking countless people, yet finding no clue. And now this man had suddenly appeared, claiming to be her father, as if fate had miraculously arranged their reunion. She looked at the man, her eyes filled with joy. After all, if he truly was Tu Tien's father, this would be a perfect and heartwarming ending. For the poor girl, she stepped forward with a warm smile, genuinely inquiring, "You must have gone through a lot to find Tu Tien. I imagine you've traveled to many places." The man nodded, his expression calm and composed. He then began recounting his journey, speaking of the places he had visited, the remote villages, the bustling marketplaces, describing how he had wandered endlessly in search of his daughter. He mentioned the village chief, who had finally told him that his daughter was here. Jack's mother listened attentively, nodding as if she believed him completely. But deep in her mind a different thought was forming. She didn't say much, merely continuing to ask seemingly casual questions, though each was carefully crafted with hidden intent. "When she was little, Tu Tien must have clung to you a lot, didn't she? I heard that as a child. She used to follow her father everywhere, when he went out to work." The man hesitated briefly, then forced a smile. "Yes. She used to be very attached to me when she was young." Jack's mother pressed further, her gaze sharpening slightly. She once told me that when she was little, her mother bought her a small silver bracelet. I assume you still remember that. This time the man didn't respond immediately. He pressed his lips together, then let out an awkward chuckle. Oh, it's been so long. I don't quite remember. That brief moment of hesitation was enough to make Jack's mother feel that something wasn't right. A father who had supposedly spent his life searching for his daughter, how could he forget such small, yet meaningful details about her? She remained silent for a moment before continuing, her tone still calm and composed. Yet every question carried a probing undertone. What was Tu Tien's favorite childhood food? I remember her telling me she was obsessed with ginger candy, to the point that her mother had to hide it from her. The man furrowed his brow slightly, then forced another uneasy smile. I don't quite remember. It's been so many years after all. At that moment a sense of unease settled deep within Jack's mother's heart. His answers were too vague, too superficial, almost as if he was merely trying to cover something up. But she didn't expose him right away. As someone with experience, she knew that suspicion alone wasn't enough. She needed solid proof. Moreover, she understood that Tu Tien was a sensitive girl. If she voiced her doubts too soon, Tu Tien might be deeply hurt. She had spent years longing for her father. If someone finally came forward claiming to be him, and Jack's mother immediately objected, it would be no different from shattering the girl's hopes completely. So instead, she chose to observe and gather more information. Jack's mother was not someone who trusted easily, especially when it concerned her son and her family. As a wealthy and influential woman, she was all too familiar with deception, people who would go to great lengths to forge connections with the rich for their own gain, and this case was no different. She knew that if this man truly was Tu Tien's father, he would hold countless, cherished memories of his daughter. A father, no matter how many years had passed, would never forget the little things, his child's habits, their favorite foods, or the moments they shared. Yet when asked the simplest of questions, this man hesitated and fumbled, as if he barely knew Tu Tien at all. Jack's mother quietly studied him for a while, then offered a kind, reassuring smile as if she had noticed nothing of this. But in truth she had already made up her mind. She wouldn't rush to any conclusions just yet, because she knew that, if someone was clever enough to impersonate another, they would also be skilled at hiding the truth. However, no lie could stay hidden forever. She would continue watching. She would investigate his past, scrutinize his stories, and see whether they truly aligned. If he was indeed Tu Tien's real father, then nothing could be better. But if he wasn't, if he was merely an impostor with ulterior motives, then she would make sure he never got the chance to hurt the girl, who had now become part of her family. Whether Tu Tien realized it or not, Jack's mother, as a mother herself, would always protect her from any lurking danger. And that was a mother's instinct. An instinct that nothing could change. Jack's mother smiled faintly, but her gaze never left the man standing before her. She said nothing about his vague answers, nor did she betray even the slightest hint of suspicion. Instead, she smoothly shifted the conversation to other topics, his health, his current life, speaking as if she completely believed him. But deep inside, a plan was already taking shape. She knew that to uncover the truth, she couldn't rely on intuition alone. If this man was truly Tu Tien's father, then there was nothing to worry about. But if he wasn't, she needed undeniable proof before saying anything, otherwise she risked hurting the girl needlessly. That night, when everyone had fallen asleep, Jack's mother sat by the window, lost in thought. Memories of those who had once tried to approach her family, those who had exploited her kindness for their own gain, surfaced in her mind. She would not let the same thing happen to Tu Tien. A girl who had already suffered too much loss in her life. She sighed softly and murmured to herself. All lies eventually come to light. If he is truly Tu Tien's father, then there is nothing to doubt. But if he isn't, I will be the one to bring the truth to the surface. The moon cast a gentle glow over the farm, serene and undisturbed, but within Jack's mother, a quiet storm was brewing. And then something unexpected happened. A small clue barely noticeable, yet enough to shake everything, deepening her suspicions even further. Was this man truly Tu Tien's father? Or was he merely someone trying to take advantage of her trust? What would Jack's mother do next to uncover the truth?